Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Looking at a little slate here on Monday. I've got about 5 player prop projections here for you on a slate that we need to wait for a few things. Joel Embiid now moving to doubtful. Dame is still technically questionable. Technically, Sabonis is doubtful instead of totally out. So we just want to look at a couple things before we put down too many plays. I'm going to go through these best bets and projections and want to run quickly through what I had happen on Sunday. Even again. So we're up still 9 units on the season after a day that ends at exactly 0.01 units up. So not much to brag about there. Still like the plays, but didn't really feel that Derek Lively one. Should have done better on that. He is nothing without Luka right now, so can't really be betting on him without him. That's the key takeaway. But I've got these plays here for you for Monday. Let's jump right into it. As I kick it off with a little 3-point parlay, quick reminder, if you don't want to miss any of the picks that I'm making, get into the VIP Discord. Use the link in the description to go to wap.com, and you can get that nice and easy. Also got the season pass running for the NBA right now, 40% off if you want to skip that monthly price. But let's talk about these threes for these homies right here. So this kind of came about naturally. I was looking at threes for Fred VanVleet, and I was like, well, 2.5 at plus money. 3 is right on the fringe against a very bad defense. Maybe I can talk myself into that for half a unit. And then I was looking at Franz right after that and going, well, he still has a 1.5 point, 3-point prop. Just to make 2, something he's been doing very consistently in the last 6 every game as he's taking a ton of threes now. There's no Paolo, and there's really not that much shooting on that team. So both these guys together should get you about plus 130, depending on which book you have an availability to for this. But 2+ for each of these guys is a lovely play today. We're talking about Fred against Milwaukee. 3rd worst 3-point defense. They're giving up a ton to the spot up. They've done a little bit better this year, limiting the ball handler in the pick and roll. They're taking on the point guard with a better defender than Dame. But this is the point guard that I believe Dame is going to be guarding based on matchup. And so if Dame does play, he's still technically questionable. Seems like he's going to be in tonight. If he does play, great. Then we just get him on Fred VanVleet. That's even better. Even if he doesn't, this team is terrible at switching. The Milwaukee defense is, and that's why they're giving up so much to the spot-up shooter, which is what Fred is doing at a very high clip. He and Jalen Green are pretty interchangeable, but I think they'll be a lot more focused on Jalen Green. For Franz, like I said, he's up to 9 attempts per game in the last 6. If he just needs to go 2 for 9, I'm okay taking Franz Wagner threes. Not a very good 3-point shooter, we know that, but the volume has just gone crazy now, and he's going up against a depleted Phoenix team that's already bad defending the 3-point line, 7th most threes allowed on the season. Both these guys to get 2, de-juice everything you'd need because Fred at 2 is only about minus 180. Same concept for Franz. You put them together, get some plus money. I think it's a really good look. One more reminder, got the live show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern every day. You guys bring your bets, jump into the comments with those, and we go through it together as I share my screen and show you all the tools I'm using to find the plays that I'm making. So hope to see you there today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's talk about Jared McCain for a minute. JJ Redick Jr. here, apparently on Philly. Jared McCain and the points is where I would be going. Embiid is now doubtful, but even if Embiid was in, I really wouldn't be concerned. It's kind of like Tyrese Maxey, where once Embiid is in and everything revolves around him, especially the defense's focus, then other guys, especially the most consistent shooters on the outside, are going to be open a lot more often as they collapse onto Embiid. Without Embiid, really good. With Embiid, really good. So I don't really care if Embiid plays because his points prop is right at about 20.5 points. And I think that's only going to go up if Embiid is officially ruled out, which I think isn't correct. But either way, I mean, he's averaging a few fewer points with Embiid on the floor than without because he had the 30-point game that he had, the 35-pointer that he went crazy on without Embiid. But if you look at the last 4 overall, since he got inserted into the starting lineup, Maxey went down, as we know, and he's really stepped up his game a ton. And the usage is what I'm looking at. Yes, 28 points per game is much higher than the average or than the number that we have for today's prop for him. But the 32% usage is what makes you feel comfortable no matter what happens, that he's going to keep firing and be taking 20 to 23 shots like he has been with or without Embiid, as I mentioned, and going up against a Miami team that I hate. And I kind of like the idea that my co-host on the other show, Nate, put together, which is if Embiid plays, take Philly. Take Miami because he'll just make them worse, and that the spread won't be high enough because Embiid will bring it down. But if he does not play, I kind of like Philly because that spread is going to go up, and Philly is playing better without the hobbled Joel Embiid right now than with him. So consider that if Embiid does or doesn't play. I like Miami more if Embiid is in, vice versa if he's out. Either way, we like McCain to get the 21 points tonight. Got to talk about a man who's just a triple-double machine right now. That's Cade Cunningham, who is on one. They're on a back-to-back, and almost like that more for Cade because he's just been really good on back-to-backs. Has not missed very many games since he's actually been healthy. They like to keep him going, and I mean, he's missed too much time in his young career for him to feel like he should be sitting nowadays. So he's going up against a Chicago defense that is bad. Gives up the second most points, the third most rebounds, and the most assists per game. So the same game parlay I like for him is 20 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. I said that really slowly. If you're one of the people in the comments complaining that I'm not putting the bets up on the screen, maybe you should listen to the video. That's all I got to say. I'm saying it out loud for you right now, and I'll say it one more time. 20 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds for Cade Cunningham. Gets you close to plus 150. He's done this in 10 of 15 games, and now he's going up against the fastest paced team in the league in Chicago, and let's call them the worst defense for now. All intents and purposes, they are horrible. And this is going to be a game where I think once you play in space and speed, Cade Cunningham really, really good because of his versatility and his big size. There's not going to be a good matchup for him. He'll probably get a decent amount of Ayo Dosunmu, who might play a bit more to guard him. Whatever. I really don't care. Cade's been doing this against good defenders, much bigger than Ayo anyway. There's really nobody on the other team that's going to scare me as the ability to limit Cade too much. And like it says at the bottom here, top 15 teams in pace that he's played this year, 7 times. 6 of the 7 games against teams that are playing at the fastest pace in the league, the faster paces. He is up 6. He has gone over this and hit this in 6 of 7. His PRA is very high at about 43 per game in those 7 games. So I love him to continue to put up stats tonight in a situation against a really fast, bad defense. Must talk about De'Aaron Fox because there's no more superstars really playing for the Kings right now. Domas and DeRozan. DeRozan's for sure out. Domas is doubtful, looking like he's out. And Malik Monk is out, who would be the sort of De'Aaron Fox replacement, or at least a guy that you would expect his usage to go way up if DDR is not out there, especially. But he's not, and now Monk is out anyway. So we've got him alongside Keon Ellis, Kevin Huerter, not facilitators, but great spot-up shooters. He's up to 13 potential assists per game in the last 6. And that includes mostly playing with DeRozan and Domas. He just took on a much bigger facilitator role, despite the fact that he's also averaging 55 points per game in his last 2 games without them. The points are at 32.5. We're going up against a Atlanta defense that's bad, but he will be drawing the Dyson Daniels matchup, which leads you to go, maybe there's the likelihood of him scoring is a little bit less than him getting dimes, because Daniels is a good defender. But obviously Daniels hasn't really helped this defense overall, as it's still a bottom 3, bottom 4 defense in the league, playing at a fast pace, giving up all the threes, which I like, because I do think Fox hits 2 threes tonight. If you want to add that to his card and parlay it with the assists, fine. But 7.5 assists is way too low. And the 3-point defense, I like that it's bad for the assists just as much as him to hit threes, because he's got 3-point shooters, a lot more of them now, especially Trey Lyles is going to be starting at center for Domas. That's one more 3-point shooter on the floor, as opposed to Domas, who's really not going to be looking for that shot. He can hit it every now and again. But Trey Lyles is a spot-up 3-point shooter. So there's going to be 4 shooters on the floor now with D Fox against the worst 3-point defense. Really like him to get a lot of dimes tonight. Should mention Karl Towns. I don't know if Karl-Anthony Towns is going to play tonight because he is questionable on a back-to-back, and they're playing a bad team in the Wiz. But if he does play, I just don't know why he wouldn't dominate once again. There's clearly been conversations behind closed doors over the last 6 to 8 games being like, Cat, I don't know what your hesitancy is, but please go to the bucket. And if you want to shoot a 3, great. We don't care. Just be aggressive on offense. And I would say he's responded with 31.5 points per game in the last 6, 12.3 rebounds per game in the last 6. And his PR is at about 36.5 in this game. The thing that scares you is the blowout against the Wizards. His might not need to play as much, right? So keep that in mind. We'll see what his health does as we move forward throughout the day. But that usage rate is massive. His individual offensive rating is incredible, 128. And he's played some good defenders in there and just been like, I'm coming at you. I'm going at you, and I'm pretty angry these days. So I enjoy the way that he's playing as a Knicks fan, especially. And those rebounds are huge. 18.6 rebound chances per game. So he's continuing to dime up and gobbling up the Josh Hart rebounds as well, whose rebounds are a little bit down from the period that he was, how well he was playing before Cat got there. Not really impacting him. He's still playing super well, but they're keeping his rebound prop for Josh Hart at 9.5, which is not doable with Cat in there. If Cat's out, super doable. And we like Josh Hart maybe on a double-double, the rebounds, all that stuff. So with Cat out, Josh Hart rebounds, Cat in, going to be looking at the PR for him. One more reminder, outlier.bet, the best tool around to make sure you're getting the best value and best ability to find the best bets as well. Really makes it simple and efficient for you guys. If you do want to check it out, use the description in the video, the link in the description of the video. That takes you to a 7-day free trial on outlier.bet if you want to go ahead and test it out for yourself before you look at that monthly subscription. But that's all the time we have. Hope to see you 5:30 p.m. Eastern on the live show as we do every weekday. Until I see you then, happy betting.